Hey, this is Jesus Zardo, and welcome to the Philly Show.
Hey, Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zalecki. It's the Philly Show. It's Monday, June 23rd, 2025. We're back.
They missed us. They had to.
Did they miss us? We hope they missed us.
We hope we were missed.
I don't know if anybody's picked up on the pattern of the show, but usually we do a show on Monday. Today is Monday. We do a show on Friday, and then we have a midweek show. No show on Friday.
We tried.
We literally started. We were a minute and a half into it, and I lost internet at the house. Jim and I lost power on Thursday, and we were without power all weekend. Jim, when did you get the power back?
We were exactly 50 hours. 50,
okay.
And we lose it all the time out here. And that was a hellacious storm. And I thought we were looking at 4 days. But
yeah,
50 hours, not bad considering some of the past outages we've had.
Yeah, I got my
so
power.
Folks know they both have generators, but they were generating other parts of their homes, more vital ones.
Yes. Yeah.
So, not all of them. But
for people who think that you guys are, misfits, you're certainly not that.
I felt like we tried to do the podcast.
Felt badly for you guys. Felt badly for you guys. You could have piled in at, in the city with me, but I had 27 other people there.
We tried to do the podcast Abraham Lincoln style by candlelight, because I always heard that he studied by candlelight deep into the night.
Well, we definitely could have done that. I got power back around the 5th inning on Sunday night's game. So the power came back. I fired up, watched the last 3 or 4 innings of the Phillies game, had no internet. But we're back, which is great. Yep. I'm glad to have AC back at the house. No internet, though, still. So I'm doing this from a hotel, believe it or not.
Really?
I rented out.
Man.
I booked it on Sunday for the family because the house is getting so hot. Wow. I said, let's get a hotel. And then I woke up, no internet this morning, woke up my wife. I said, you haven't checked out of the hotel yet, have you? She's like, no, because they had come back last night. I said, good, because I'm going back. She's like, why? I said, internet's out.
You're a gamer, man. You're a difference maker. See, that's the difference. You're a difference maker.
I said, I got to do the Philly show.
Committed. You committed to the show and the fans.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I hope they appreciate it. I hope they appreciate you.
I hope so.
We have great fans.
We do. The Phillies guys, they won 2 out of 3 this weekend against the Mets. They are now in sole possession of first place in the National League East. Big weekend for the Phillies, of course. And let's start right there with the Parks first pitch. Guys, big weekend, as I said, for the Phillies. They take 2 out of 3 from the Mets, for sole possession of first place in the National League East. And now everybody's kind of like, are the Phillies the favorites going down the stretch? Is it too early to read anything into a series in late June? Where do you think the Phillies stand right now coming out of this series?
Too early. Too early to make any definitive reads, but I'll tell you what, winning a series is a lot better than losing a series, because there had been this little narrative developing that the Phillies can't beat the Mets. So they kind of quelled that narrative for now with a really good series win. I don't care when it is. I'll always take a series win. But October is going to define this team. We know that. It's shaping up almost to be like a 2-team race in the National League East. You're starting to wonder if it's just going to be a 2-team race as the Braves take on some water here. And, the Mets, they're going to play the Braves this week. They have a chance to kind of step on them a little bit. And then the Phillies play the Braves. So this is a pivotal week, I think, for the division race. I still think there's a good chance both teams, Mets and Phillies, play in October. Very good chance. But, it's just nice to go out there and win a series. And if there was any lingering thing in the Phillies' minds, because they didn't play well in getting swept up in Citi Field in April. And then there's October, which still smarts. But, maybe if there's any little seed in the back of their mind, they destroyed it with a really good series win at home. Crowds were electric. Sunday night baseball. That ovation they gave Luzardo when he came off the mound in the 7th inning was a thing of beauty. So it was a really fun weekend and a fun night at the ballpark. Always love a big series when two teams are in a showdown for first place. I mean, the Phillies, 11 days, they've come from 5 games back in the division. Now they lead the division. So fun weekend.
So they win the rubber match on Sunday night, and these are the guys that are in the lineup.
Yeah.
Johan Rojas, Buddy Kennedy, Otto Kemp, and Edmundo Sosa.
Big right-handed lineup against the lefty. And we're going to see those guys again, first 2 in Houston, I think, because they faced 2 lefties out of the gate. But, I mean, you're right. They've had this really nice surge here without Bryce Harper.
They really have. And they've they've done this before. Like when Harper's been out in other occasions, when he had elbow issues and he got hit in the face and he's had, time off. I mean, it's a pretty darn resilient team for a player who is that impactful. For them to bounce back and to play the kind of baseball they've been playing is a real positive, especially against the Mets, and maybe a blessing in disguise that these guys were playing, because Peterson usually sticks it right up there. It took us. I mean, he pitches really, really well against the normal lineup. So nice to see, obviously, Schwarber do his damage with the home run against the lefty. He seems to be doing it all the time, but a nice resilient type of bounce back when everybody's like, what is Thompson doing with this lineup, man? It's like a must-win game and this, that, and the other. Like, okay, dude, relax. It is you're putting some righties in there because Peterson's throwing the ball really, really well. He's been one of the better left-handers in the game over the last month and a half. So great decision. Guys performed. Edmundo Sosa was a stud.
That's great.
And it's good stuff.
Players make managers look good. And Edmundo Sosa made his skipper look good with a heavy right-handed lineup. Had a big night. Had big home run, 3-run home run. Schwarber had really struggled in his career against Peterson, and he hit one halfway up the ivy off the batter's eye. So,
little hanger.
Yeah, he killed it. Yep. I mean, it's 24 home runs, 54 RBIs, and we're not even at the halfway point of the season. And supposedly, power numbers are a little bit down this year because the seams on the ball are bigger. I don't know, but pretty good showing by Kyle. The last few games, he's really, he had that little downturn, but his last few games, I mean, I wrote down some of his numbers. Last 4, 6 for 14, 2 home runs, 2 walks. He's getting on base. He's doing a lot of damage.
He had started a little slowly in June, but maybe he's starting to pick up a little bit. But I mean, the Phillies they're a good team. And I think where are they going to finish in October? I have no idea. They could get bounced out in the first round again. Mm-hmm. They also could go and win the World Series. And I think people need to remember that, the baseball's a long season. I was listening to the other day, Ken Rosenthal on the Fair Territory podcast, and he was talking about how the Yankees had a stretch recently where they scored 7 runs in 7 games, how the Padres are under 500 since mid-April, how the Diamondbacks are under 500 since mid-April, how the Mets, Jim, you mentioned it, how they had a lead over the Phillies just, a few days ago, and now they've lost, 8 out of 9, 9 out of 10. The Phillies had that 9 out of 10 stretch. Teams go through these types of things. So when the Phillies just kind of remember this, I feel like the next time the Phillies go through they lose 6 out of 7 and the bullpen gets blown up and, Turner's in a slump and Schwarber's in a slump and Castellanos is struggling or whatever. Everybody goes through this stuff. But I think the Phillies are a good team. I think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't know what's going to happen. Are they flawed? Sure. But we saw how the Mets are flawed. I mean, look at that starting pitching staff right now. I mean, the Mets, David Stearns from the Mets would lose his freaking mind if Dave Dombrowski said, do you want to switch rotations? I mean, he would just do backflips. Every team has flaws in some way, shape, or form. It's just, how well are you playing once the postseason starts, and how do the Phillies maybe address some of these weaknesses that they have before the July 31st trade deadline? So.
You mentioned the Mets rotation had really done a good job for most of the season. Lately, the last couple of weeks, really showing signs. They lost Senga. They have other injuries, Minaya, Montas, somebody else is, Taylor McGill.
Taylor McGill.
I mean, all those guys are due back at some point, but they could still look for starting pitching at the deadline, along with bullpen, along with center field. Phillies could go for bat in the outfield. It's a must. They bring in another guy in the bullpen, though you have to like what you've seen from Orion Kerkering kind of blossoming a little bit toward the end of the game. So front offices are going to have something to do with this race as well. But I think ultimately it always comes down to the men on the field.
Right. So
and that, my friends, was First Pitch. First Pitch is presented exclusively by our partners at PARX Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino, PARXCasino.com. You must be 21. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
So it is Monday, guys. And Monday, of course, we do our Manco Best Week.
Hey, before we get going, I crushed some Manco yesterday at the game.
Did you?
Crushed it. It was in our office there for the. I guess they got a pie for the boys for the late night game, and I walked in there because I was getting ready to go. I wasn't working because it was an ESPN game, but
right.
Did crush a couple of slices.
That sounds nice. That sounds
the
nice.
Slice was nice.
Yeah. In fact, real quick, I do want to mention that we're doing another giveaway for a Manco gift card. So simply follow the Philly Show on X for a chance to win a Manco gift card. Check that out. So let's go, though. Manco Best Week. Who wants to start it off?
I'm going to start it off. I'm going to lead off.
Get it, Jim.
I'm going to see some pitches, though, out of the gate because I'm going to go with my Manco worst of the week first. Last night in the press box, Ruben Amaro wearing pink pants. I am going.
Oh, my outfit was delicious.
I am going with a sartorial demerit for Ruben Amaro as the Manco worst of the week.
If you guys would have seen my outfit, you would have been. If you would have seen me, see Jim is 100 years old.
I'm younger than you
with his clothing game. If he would have seen my outfit with the. It was rather sweet. It was actually salmon pants, not pink, but that's okay.
Anyway, I digress.
I think Ruben is probably the most well-dressed broadcaster out there. He might be. Jimmy, I don't know. I'd have to see the outfit, but
it was
bold choices.
I'm sure somebody took a picture.
It was quite summery and fitting. We're into summer now, and the weather is indicative of that. It's supposed to be triple digits. Anyway, my Manco best of the week. I thought about Bryson Stott. I like that little comeback he's having at the plate. I think it's necessary. It's really needed for this team, more than necessary. I like what Schwarber's doing at the plate, but I'm going to go a teeny bit off the reservation, as you know I like to do now and then. And I'm going to go and give a nice Manco best of the week to left-handed reliever Tanner Banks. And you know why? That was a big series against the Mets, and you needed to take game one. And it was hanging in the balance there a little bit on Friday night. Comes out and gets 5 big outs against pretty tough lineup, especially that top half of that lineup. Got some left-handed thunder over there with Sosa and whatnot. Gave him 5 big outs on Friday night, and the Phillies, took tone-setting game one of an important series. So Tanner Banks, he's, sometimes one little moment can really get things going in the right direction. We talk about sometimes with a hitter who's slumping, even a walk can sometimes turn him around because if he's taking close pitches, seeing the ball well, one little moment can mean a lot. And I thought Tanner Banks' performance Friday night meant a lot. So give that boy a piece of pizza.
I like that. I saw some kind of stat that he had his ratio of strikeouts to walks was like 25-1. Is that correct? That's insane. That's I'm not pulling up the numbers right now, but his ratio from strikeouts to walks is amazing. Now he's been knocked around a couple of times, but he takes the baseball and he pitches, and he never complains. And every once in a while, he'll leave some breaking stuff up in the zone and get whacked a little bit, but he's actually done a pretty darn good job for this team. And I like that call, Jim. It's very thoughtful. But I'm going to go with my man Alec.
34
Bohm, man.
strikeouts. 34 strikeouts. Good.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say Tanner Banks, 34 walks. I'm 34 strikeouts, 5 walks in 34 innings. So a 6.8 strikeout to walk ratio. I mean, that's more than double his best effort ever in the big leagues. So you're right, Ruben. He is striking out a bunch and not walking anybody. Pretty important for a reliever. They need some strikeouts out of that bullpen. So let's go. What do you got, Alec Bohm?
I got Alec Bohm, man. I think Bohmer's just done such a good job of bouncing back after a very, very tough start to the season. A lot of things swirling around him. His defensive game, I think he made one error that was, an error that you typically don't see from him here recently. But his defense has been very good. He's getting big base hits. He's driving in runs. He's protecting the guy who's the most important guy in the lineup right now, and Kyle Schwarber. His OPS has steadily climbed throughout these last 2 months. It's just been better and better. And you got to give some love to this guy because he's a very good hitter. He uses the middle of the field a lot. Yes, he does not drive the ball out of the ballpark consistently for a third baseman. You like to see him do that more, but he produces runs and he's getting the job done, especially when they need him the most without the big boy in the lineup, without Bryce Harper in the lineup. So I'm gonna toss it to Alec Bohm.
I like that. He's been phenomenal.
He gets a big slice. He gets a big slice.
People are out on him a week and a half into the season, and now they're out, baby.
They're out. They're in. They're out. They're in.
You mentioned Bryson Stott, and he would have been a definitely worthy choice. I was thinking about him, but I'm gonna say just because the week has been so interesting and so much fun, it's kind of the week you enjoy as a writer. I'm going to say Nick Castellanos is a Manco best week choice. He gets not because he said what he said to Rob Thompson on Monday. That was like we talked about the other day. It was more than just a quote inappropriate remark. It was probably something very harsh. But since then, he has certainly backed up his play. He batted .360 this week, 4 doubles, a home run, 5 RBIs, OPS over 1,000. Made that great catch at the end of Wednesday night's game in Miami, right up against the warning track there. So I kind of backed up his maybe trying to make amends, maybe more laser focused. I don't know what is going on, but he
trying to prove to Rob Thompson that he doesn't need to be taken out.
He does not need to be taken out. And one thing I did want to talk about on Friday, guys, before in Friday's episode before we lost power, is how Nick Castellanos, he talked to the Inquirer and the Athletic down in Miami and said how he has asked Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies to give him the analytical readouts of his defensive play after every series, which I thought is just amazing. I don't know what that means. What is he going to do with this information? But I mean, oh my gosh, that's only Nick Castellanos would go up to Dave Dombrowski and say, I want my readouts on my defensive play, my defensive metrics after every series. But that's Nick.
That is Nick.
So there you go. So that's Manco best week. One guy I wanted to talk about, guys, as well, coming off this weekend is Mick Abel. Mick Abel on Saturday, 3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 home runs, 1 strikeout. Now, in his last 3 starts, he's given up 7 home runs in 12 innings. Fastball command is an issue. How are we feeling about Mick Abel right now? Because he's going to be in this rotation for at least a few more weeks with Aaron Nola, very slowly coming back from his ankle/rib issue.
I feel like he's learning. I feel like this is invaluable experience. I feel like he's not a finished product. He's going to have nights like that. Control and command have been his number one issue coming through the system. And Saturday night, it just looked like he was up a lot, up in the zone. And you do that at this level and in cozy ballparks, when the weather is warm, the ball is going to land in the seats. And I think that's what happened to him. 4 solos, I believe. At least there were solos. Learning experience, not a finished product. Stuff is, still good. I mean, he didn't get a lot of strikeouts that night, but I still like the ingredients. I like that he's gaining experience, and I'm not going to make any just like I don't think he can make a snap decision when he goes out there and dazzles against the Pirates. I don't think he can make a snap decision when he gets beat up by the Mets. Right. He's good. He needs work. We'll see.
I have a little bit of a different take on this. I like the kid. I like the arm. I don't like the deception. He's not creating any deception in his delivery, and the fastball's up and flat. He can't drive the ball down. I had a long talk with Kevin Stocker about this, and I like the kid a lot. He's focused. He's trying. He's doing his. I love the way he's handled things. Very mature. Pretty impressive. Even getting knocked around his last time out in an important series. But I don't see his ability. He has to drive the ball down in the zone. He just can't do it. And he's been working on it, and he can't get the ball down in the zone. So when you are up with everything, and you are continuously using the top part of the zone, you better have so much life on that fastball and so much break on that breaking ball that creates the deception. And right now he's not getting it. He does technically have a sinker and a slider, has not used it, and I don't know what he's gonna have to do mechanically to drive the ball down in the zone so that he can have other quadrants that he can use. But he's going to have to do something, and he's going to have to make an adjustment because you can't stay up in the zone with your four-seam fastball against good hitters, unless you're throwing 100. And he's throwing hard, but he's not throwing 100.
Right.
And he doesn't have a whole lot of life in the zone. And if you don't have life in the zone, then the big boys are going to get to it, and that's what's happening.
He had it that day against Pittsburgh, for sure.
Right. He did, except it's not consistent.
Yeah,
and
that might have been adrenaline.
He hasn't been able to drive the ball down in the zone.
It
was also a Pittsburgh team,
right,
that can't hit.
Right,
but he was up that day, and it had finish. But I
don't see it right now.
Yeah, it's going to be a big month for him in a lot of ways. Can he do what you guys just talked about? Is he going to be in the organization 5 weeks from now? The trade deadline's coming up. Do the Phillies trade him? If he continues to struggle, does that make it harder for the Phillies to trade him? If that's something that they might be interested in doing, knowing that they have Andrew Painter coming up down the pike. So a lot of big month for sure for Mick Abel. Jim, you mentioned earlier in the show how it was electric at the ballpark this weekend. If you did not get down to the ballpark this weekend, you could have swung by. Ruben, you've done this before. You've watched a couple games at PARX Casino.
Yeah, and it's awfully hot too, right? So you want to be nice and air conditioned. It's a cool summer vibe down there over there at the PARX Casino. It's my casino of choice. They've got it all in one place. Like you said, Todd, you can go and watch a game. You can have a drink. You can you'll go watch a show. There's action, entertainment, excitement. There's headline stuff. So many different restaurants and stuff. I love this place because it's not just a place to go gamble. It's a place to have a guys or girls night out, after work party, happy hours, date nights. There's all types of meetups and things you can do. So check out the concerts, the comedy, and the state of the art Excite Center. I've seen a couple of shows there. It's outstanding. And listen, if you want to get some food, there's a zillion places to get it. Liberty Bell, Gastro Pub and Garden, Beer Garden. There's so many places to eat and to enjoy. Every weekend, this Friday, there's at the 360 Lounge, there's the Exceptions who take the stage on, and then Saturday night, it's the band. It's called Fish Out of Water. PARX Casino. This is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. PARXCasino.com for tickets to all shows. You must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you're a card collector, even if you're not, and you just want to find a new way to collect, Arena Club is the spot. AJ just opened up a slab pack. He screen recorded on his phone so you can all see what he just experienced. Take us through it.
It was simple. I just clicked on which slab pack I wanted, clicked buy now, boom, bought it. Card little pack starts spinning. You hit open, and then it goes all psychedelic on you. It gets a little funky. And then the card appears, and I got a Robin Yount rookie card.
Yeah, you did.
Pretty awesome.
And then right after that experience, I saw the little buyback, and you said, nah, we're going to hold on to this for now.
I'm going to hold on to this. Robin Yount's in the Hall of Fame. he's not getting any more rookie cards, so I'm gonna stick with it for a little bit and see if the price might start going up a little bit.
Yep, you can track that. And of course, if you do want to do the buyback, then you can instantly sell it right back to Arena Club, get yourself another slab pack, buy a card, whatever it is. This is the spot for collectors these days. And you can use the code FOUL, FOUL, to get yourself 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase at arenaclub.com/foul.
We are back. Otto Kemp, left field, Sunday night.
That's right.
How do we feel about Otto Kemp in left field? Otto Kemp has been such a great story, for so many different reasons. And now he's moving out the left field, which he's only played, I think, 7 games in his entire minor league career. They all came this season. Very, very little experience in left field. But he's hitting. He's hitting left-handed pitching. You got to get his bat in the lineup. They need help in the outfield. So now he's going to platoon with Max Kepler a little bit in left field. How are we feeling about this? Is this a less risk-averse situation than when the Phillies threw Rhys Hoskins out there? I mean, he's more athletic, of course. But how do we feel about it?
No, he's not Rhys Hoskins out there in left.
Right.
I'm sorry. I mean, he's not. I mean, he can move around. He had a tough play in the very first play he had to make. Goes into left center. I thought that it was a ball that Johan Rojas should have gone and caught, but he sort of let him die out there in left
wobbled
center field, and he stayed with it, made the play. Good for him. He is an athletic kid. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that he hadn't played a whole lot of outfield at all. I know, most of his life he's been an infielder. All of his life he's been an infielder. I'm just surprised that somebody didn't throw an outfield glove on this guy earlier in his career just to mess around with it.
Right.
Well, he was most in high school. Your best player is going to play shortstop, so he was probably the best player on his high school team. And he went to a Division II team, and he was probably the best player there, I'm sure. And they kept him in the infield. Didn't maybe diversify his skill set, as I mentioned on the last podcast. I think he would have been well served going behind the plate at some point as a young man. Because I could see that transitioning happening, as it's happened with a lot of players over the years. JT Realmuto, Carlos Ruiz, Rafael Marchand, all those guys were middle infielders. Anyway, I'm eager to see how it works out there. He did make that catch last night over in the gap. And if he can just make the routine plays and not become a liability out there, I like the chance of that being a very positive right-handed hitting half of a platoon with Max Kepler. I think this lineup's been begging for that all year, a productive right-handed bat in that platoon. And you could have a pretty nice situation out there with Kepler and the right-handed bat. For now, it's Otto Kemp, and I feel like he's going to get a decent look out there before the trade deadline, at which point they'll realize or determine if they have to address it. Go ahead, Todd.
So I was just going to say that you kind of asked my question, which was, I believe last year, Weston Wilson was out there a little bit in left field before the trade deadline. And they ended up going out and getting Austin Hayes anyway. So let's say, for argument's sake, Otto Kemp is fairly productive. He's not hitting, 1,000 OPS or whatever, but he's been pretty solid out in the left field. He's catching the balls he needs to catch. He's hitting left-handed pitching solidly, however you want to define that. Do the Phillies then still feel like they need to go out? Or what would you do? Do you still go out and get a right-handed hitting corner outfielder to pair up with Max Kepler, or do you just put all of your effort into upgrading the bullpen?
What would the GM do?
So, I think a lot of it depends on the trajectory of the team, where you feel they need to go. And as far as like the long-term aspect of it, yes, they want to win in 2025, but they're going to have to give up a lot to get this reliever, and they don't have a lot to give up in their system. And so when you start thinking about getting 2 pieces, that's even more difficult. And if this guy can play left field well enough so that they can platoon he and Kepler out there, I got to believe they're going to continue to put their eggs in that bullpen basket. Because it's a far more important piece of the pie. I think that they could probably get, and they'll find out whether or not Otto Kemp can actually play left field. They're going to find out this week, because they're playing 2 left-handers in a very, very tough place to play left field. It's short, but it's weird. It's the very short left field with a strange angle in left center field. So he's going to have Paco Figueroa is going to be working with him out there in that corner of the ballpark here at Dakin Field. Dakin, is that what it is? Dakin or Dakin?
Yeah, Dakin, yeah, something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah, you're
Bacon.
right.
I better figure it out before I broadcast. But the reality of it is that they're going to have to find out, and that's a great way to find out, and this is a way to do it. We're in June. The division is not in the balance. This is a good time for them to find out whether or not Otto Kemp can be that right-handed bat for them that they need to be able to help this team win.
Right. They definitely have some decisions to make. A couple more things real quick. I want to mention that Bryce Harper is traveling with the team. He is with the team in Houston. He has been hitting, taking some swings in the cage. He's expected to hit in the cage either, tomorrow or Wednesday in Houston. So he's coming back at some point. The fact that he's with the team, maybe they just activate him at some point on this road trip. We will see. And then Aaron Nola played catch in the cages on Saturday and Sunday. If he responds well, he can begin his throwing progression this week on the field. So I did want to mention that, Jim, you know him well. Ruben, you knew him. Longtime baseball writer Scott Miller passed away this weekend. Such a tremendous guy. When I got on the beat Scott, for people that don't know, Scott used to work at the LA Times. He worked at the St. Paul Pioneer Press. He's been writing recently for the New York Times. He just wrote a book that came out called Skipper about why managers in baseball still matter and are still important. He's written a lot of books, and probably one of the nicest people I've met on the beat. And I say this as somebody who in 2003, I start the beat. I don't know anybody. And Scott Miller was a national writer, very highly regarded, could not have been friendlier, could not have been nicer. Every time he saw me, he came up and asked me how I was doing. And just a classy guy, so he'll be definitely missed. Really hit me hard this weekend when I heard that he had passed away. So Jim, you knew him a lot longer than me.
It certainly hit hard because, when you say he was one of the nicest guys you ran into as we travel the country following baseball, he was. Just one of the nicest guys you ran into. When you saw him in a press box, there was always a smile on his face, always a big handshake, always, hey, how you doing? He always meant it. Just a really good-hearted guy, and a tremendous writer. Loved reading him. It's hard to believe, and you're right. He brightened a lot of lives, and I was shocked when I heard it, and very, very saddened. And I offer my condolences to everybody who loved him, including a whole lot of baseball writers. We can be kind of a grumpy old bunch, but when you saw Scott Miller, he put a smile on everybody's face. And
100%.
Yeah, we talk about reading faces all the time. He's one of those faces that you love to see every day, right?
Yes.
He's one of those guys when you look at him, it's always happy, it's pleasant. He'll be terribly missed. I didn't know him like you knew him, but I had an opportunity, obviously, to interact with him on a number of occasions. And I think classy is a great way to describe him, Todd, because he's always been that way with me.
Totally.
And was. So God bless his family.
Yeah, he was always, I just love seeing him.
I'll tell this story. It was 2022. And I'm not going to get real specific, but it was 2022. We were in Atlanta. Scott was working for the New York Times doing sort of big picture national stories. And he called somebody in the Phillies organization to interview him. And this guy really didn't know him. And he asked me about him. And the guy in the Phillies organization said, this guy, Scott Miller, tell me about him. I said, you should return his call. You should return his call. You should talk to him. He will treat you fairly. He will get it right. You should talk to him. The guy talked to him a couple of days later, say, hey, I talked to that guy. He was great.
Yeah. That's great, because that really is him.
A guy that depicts who he is. Yeah.
Totally. He knew baseball. He knew how to, he was just a solid baseball guy, tremendous writer, tremendous person. So anyway, I wanted to mention Scott because he was just one of the all-time best. The Phillies guys open a 3-game series on Tuesday night against the Astros in Houston, whatever we're calling the park. Ruben, you'll figure it out. I'm going to be listening closely in the broadcast on Tuesday night.
Don't call it by that name, Ruben. Don't call it like, what is it called? Daikon Radish Ballpark or something? Don't call it that.
It's like Daikon. It's Daikin, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know, but like a Daikon Radish, I always see it on the Food Channel. Like I'm so tired of these ballparks changing their names. So I actually adopted a little bit of a personal philosophy here.
About
like,
the cabbage change.
I know, but when I go to San Francisco, I mean, that place has had like 5 names. I never refer to it by its name. To me, when I refer to that ballpark, the Phillies won 4-2 last night at 24 Willie Mays Plaza. Boom. When I go to Miami, it's not whatever they call it now. It's under the Big Top in Little Havana. You got to come up with something. How about under the Big Top in downtown Houston? Enough of this. They're changing names every 5 minutes.
Or the replacement of the Astrodome. How about that?
How about the Astrodome's
Kid brother?
A kid brother.
The local 9's home field.
How about the ratless Astrodome?
The Astrodome. I've heard many stories about the Astrodome back in the day.
Have you heard about the Astro Rats?
I've heard
They were
about
like-
We'll talk about them on Wednesday.
They were big.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruben's tired. He wants to go to bed.
Yeah, we
Yes, I do.
so Tuesday, I'm going to run through the pitching matchups real quick. Tuesday is Ranger Suarez against Framber Valdez. That should be a great one. Tuesday, that's at 8:10 p.m. Eastern.
Framber bounced back, man. They're both pitching great.
Yeah,
right now.
I mean, Ranger's been one of the best pitchers in baseball after his first start there. Wednesday night, 8:10, Zach Wheeler against Colton Gordon. And then the series finale on Thursday at 2:10 p.m. That's an afternoon game, guys. Christopher Sanchez against Hunter Brown, who has been absolutely outstanding for the Astros.
Yeah.
ERA under 2. So the Phillies bats have their work cut out for them. Guys, I will talk to you later this week. Thanks
Smell
for
you later, boys. Smell you later.
Smell you, Jim.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you like us, give us a review. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and Threads. Find Ruben's analysis before, during, and after Phillies games on NBC Sports Philadelphia, on the Sports Radio 94 WIP Morning Show, and MLB Network. Find Jim at allphly.com. Find me at MLB.com, the Phillies Beat newsletter, and MLB Network.